Mic check 1 2. Dylan, can you hear me back in the studio? Dylan, can you hear me? Dylan, can you hear me?
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hello, Dylan. Hello, Dylan. Hello, Dylan.
Dylan, can you hear me? 1 2 3 4. Dylan, can you hear me? And you can't hear me in here now? Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check. Jen's got me up here. It's quiet. Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 1 2 3 4. Dylan, can you hear me in the studio? Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Let's just post it later.
Well, if they're rolling on it.
George, let's just start and we'll post it later.
Does he have audio at all? Because if not, they can't roll on it at all.
No, they have audio through live.
Okay.
Audio going into the
We'll just roll on it and post it later.
That's fine.
Hey, can we just roll on it this way? All right. So you're recording back there? All right. Might as well check the camera one more time.
Talking to your mic.
Mic check one more time. Good?
Good?
All right.
You ready? All right. Lord, we did it.
We did it. Sorry about that, y'all. Trying to get everything going, working. So here we are. Thank you for coming out here to RipTydz this evening for Are Cirrus. So happy you all made it out here as we wrap up what's been a really good hurricane week as we kind of get ready for the peak of the hurricane season, which is underway. And we're kind of doing this as a way to just reach out to you individually, one-on-one, getting prepared for the meat of the season and for what will eventually be some decent hits.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a pretty good opportunity. Once again, if you're in the back and you're at one point struggling to hear us, come on up here. We have plenty of room for you, but this is going to be a night just kind of designed for everybody. We're going to ask questions and answer whatever questions you may have. We have some people, it's their first ever hurricane season. We've met a couple of you already. We have some people who have been here since early 2000s. You want to play a little fun game?
Let's do the game.
All right. Everybody raise your hand if you're listening to the podcast. Raise your hand up. We're going to play a game. All right. If you have never experienced a hurricane in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, put your hand down. All right, you go next.
Well, you just kind of ruined all of it, ever.
Why?
All right, so if you moved here after 2016, put your hand down.
Okay, we
So
still
we
got some hands
so we
up.
got a couple.
If you moved here after 2008, put your hands down. All right,
All right.
we got a couple up. Anybody? I see Alan.
Well, that's because
He's a local.
Alan's a native. Natives are hard to find. Do we have any other natives? Horry County natives in the house? All right. I'm not aging anybody. We got really back there? Really?
61.
Wow. In Horry County. Right in Conway.
South Carolina.
All right. Conway representing. So basically, kind of what we're going for with that is who remembers Hurricane Matthew in 2016? Okay. All right. Who thought it was a bad hurricane? Got some hands up. Florence in 2018. Yeah, that was bad for the flooding. All right. Ian in 2022. Pretty bad hurricane, right? If you were on the beach, it was bad. If you were basically west of the waterway, it wasn't much of anything. Basically, what we're getting at here is that it has been a very, very, very long time that this area has experienced true devastating hurricane conditions. And eventually, our time is going to run out here, and I'm not trying to be a fear monger with that, but if it gives you a little fear, that's actually kind of good because you need that little bit of fear to kind of start thinking about, okay, what I would do. And as you said up front, Hugo, that is the one. That is one of two real benchmark hurricanes that we have for this area.
Yeah, you got to think not only that, but since our last impactful one, widespread with Florence, we've had so many people move to this area that have questions, and that's kind of what this whole week was designed for. So if you have a question tonight and you're interested in, hey, knowing what zone I'm in, what's some hurricane hacks that we can help you cheat the storm, what are some things that maybe we learned from our first experiences, any questions at all, Jenna's going to be around tonight. Raise your hand. She'll come with the mic, and this is going to be a Q&A type podcast.
All right, let's try another little survey out there. Who lives in an evacuation zone?
Oh, I like that.
That's good. Who has no idea? And if you don't, it's okay. Who has no idea if you live in an evacuation zone? Destiny.
She works for
Ben.
us.
No idea that you live in an evacuation zone. Well, it makes me happy to see all the hands going up for the people that do. That is really good.
Yeah, if you weren't here, or maybe you're a local and you're eating on the RipTydz roof out there, I'm looking at you. If you don't know what zone you are, come see us after we get done. We have a free magnet to give you, and it's all about knowing your zone, because here's the problem, and we're going to run into this more and more with bigger storms. A lot of people evacuate when they don't need to.
Yes.
A lot of people hear evacuation zones, and then they run when in reality they're not in one at all.
Exactly. And we ran, let's see another show of hands. Who was here in 2018 for Florence? All right. So Florence was the last kind of big evacuation that we had here in the Grand Strand. We had all three zones, A, B, and C, evacuated. All of those zones evacuated, but basically everybody in Horry County left for Florence. Carolina Forest evacuated, Conway evacuated, and what we ended up doing was really clogging up the roadways, slowing down the process, and taking up hotel rooms and shelter space for people who really needed it.
It's a disaster, too.
Yeah.
I mean, for those... Here's the other thing I worry about. So many people ran into issues with Florence getting back in because so many people evacuated that it was an absolute nightmare because people didn't need to leave.
Exactly. And evacuating is not a fun process, but if you're in one of those evacuation zones and you're asked to leave, your best bet is to leave. If you're not in that zone, and you feel safe in your house, if you're not in a mobile home or if you're not in an area prone to flash flooding, then you're going to be able to survive a hurricane in your home.
Yeah, run from water, hide from wind.
Run from water, hide from wind. We say it all the time.
All right, so Jenna's going to walk around with the mic. If you have any questions for us, if you have any weather-related questions, TV-related questions, hurricane-related questions, happy hour-related questions.
Our favorite hour.
That's our favorite hour. Ask them away. We can hear you. We'll repeat the question so everyone else knows what you asked.
We live in Lauderdale Bay condos on Highway 17 South, and we're confused about what is our evacuation zone. Can you help us with that?
Lauderdale Bay. I know exactly where that is. She was asking, they live in Lauderdale Bay, which is almost the Surfside. You going to look it up?
No, I was making sure I was trying to hear.
Lauderdale Bay. I'm thinking it's B.
You go ahead and talk, and I'll get it.
So that probably used to actually be A, but about 2 years ago, the county sort of reorganized the evacuation zones and actually kind of shrunk them a little bit because it turned out that we were actually over-evacuating. We were evacuating places that didn't necessarily need to be evacuated. So 2 years ago, the county, like I said, sort of shrunk down those zones to make evacuating a little more reasonable. So we're looking up Lauderdale Bay. We're going to come to you. We're going to get that for you in just a second. All right, Jen, the next one.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Hey, what up, y'all? I was just wondering, is there any specific reason we have her? Like, do we need hurricanes for the environment like we need rain and whatnot?
That's a really awesome question. Basically what he said was, is there a reason we have hurricanes? Like, why do we need hurricanes? And this is one of the really cool things that I love when I go to talk to students at school, is that if we did not have hurricanes, the earth would be incredibly out of whack. If you think about the Atlantic Ocean, and if you look at a track of every single hurricane that has ever developed, at some point, that hurricane turns to the north. At some point, it goes north. The entire purpose of hurricanes is to take heat out of the tropics and send it north. If we did not have hurricanes, the poles would continue to get colder and colder and colder. The equator would continue to get hotter and hotter and hotter. As destructive as they are, hurricanes actually keep the earth in balance. Sometimes we just get in the way of them, but without them, it would be a lot worse than it is now.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is even without hurricanes. It's the same way with strong storm systems.
Yeah.
Big high pressures. If we're typically in a big heat dome, someone else in the other side of the country is paying for it, usually with storms or flash flooding. It's just kind of how it is. It's always a balancing act.
Yeah.
It will always be that way. And that's just kind of how it was designed.
And there are also some other sort of interesting side notes on hurricanes. If you remember last year before Debbie came, we were in like an incredible drought. We ended that drought and then some, ended up with flooding, from drought to flooding literally in 2 weeks. But also the entire history of the city of Myrtle Beach is based on hurricanes. Had it not been for Hazel in 1954 that came through and knocked down a bunch of little houses, beach cottages, so that hotels could come in, we wouldn't have seen Myrtle Beach what it is today. Hugo came through, basically did the same thing, but the city got a huge economic boost. Investors came in, bought up cheap property, and turned it even more. So the history of our city is literally based on hurricanes.
Right here at the bar, Lauderdale Bay, right near the Intracoastal.
Yep.
Near the Intracoastal,
Yep.
C. And you are in that because of a flood zone area. Because of the Intracoastal, that is why you're included in Zone C for those high water rises when we come to it. You were in B, but now it is C. Does that work? All right, cool. We got another question, Jenna?
Yeah, we have someone who doesn't necessarily have a question, but wanted to say something to the two of you.
Okay.
Hi guys, my name's Michael, and I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you guys. My wife and I, we both watch you every single day, and you guys are fantastic.
Thank you, Michael, so much. I wish my boss could have heard that. He was basically singing our praises.
Saying all good things. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the compliment. Jenna's walking around. She's got Tracy now. We'll repeat the questions as they come in.
When you guys travel, I know you guys travel, which weather app do you guys use when you're traveling?
But it's Jamie and Andrew.
Funny question. Tracy wanted to know what weather app do we use while we're traveling.
Do you have a secret one? You guys got a secret app that we don't know about?
I mean,
I know you went to Florida. I know you went to Colorado. We see it. Now, where do you go? Where do you look when you go?
Because the bosses are here, I'm going to say ours, but I'm going to whisper and tell you that as meteorologists, we use other methods to get our forecast and apps. Like we're looking at models, we're looking at like the hardcore real data.
I try to forecast for whatever city I go to.
Same.
And most of the time, like in Colorado, it's not good. not good at all.
Yeah, we're not mountain forecasters
No,
at
not
all.
at all.
No, we've lost that touch. That's awesome. But yeah, we don't really use an app. But we love that you do, especially ours.
That's a good question. Any other questions? While Jen is going around,
Yeah.
I do want to thank, and I know he's there. Oh, he's not there. Is Mark back there? Where did Mark go? I don't know. Mark was polite enough to give us a hurricane.
Yes, before this started. So thank you for the hurricanes. Oh, he's in the bathroom.
Oh, of course.
Well, a hurricane will do that.
Here he comes. He's coming by the bar. Mark, thank you for our hurricane.
Yes, thank you for the hurricanes, Mark.
It's a good way to celebrate hurricane season. All right, questions? Jenna's got a question.
Oh my God. Hi. I know that you guys have covered this a lot, but for the people out here who don't know, what is your process like whenever you first start tracking the hurricane from start to finish?
You want to go first or me?
Yes, awesome question from Kristen. Sort of what is the process like as we start to forecast a hurricane, especially one that looks like it's going to be a threat? Exhausting.
Yeah.
A lot of questions. The process usually, especially if it's kind of a classic hurricane that's going to come across the Atlantic, before it even comes off of Africa, we kind of have an idea that this one at least may be a threat.
Yeah, and
You can tell pretty early on if one's going to be a threat.
And you can kind of know that based on where the pressure systems are,
Right.
what the steering flow is going to be in that next 2 weeks. And then if it still looks like that 7 to 10 days out,
Yeah.
we start to go team no sleep.
Yeah, and it's about 7 days out, and we start waking up in the middle of the night to look at forecast models. Then you get 5 days out, and that's pretty much when we quit sleeping.
Yeah. No life.
Yeah, eat, sleep.
And you go into I don't know if this is like for you, but you go into a lifestyle that you're not used to. So I start eating like stress food.
Yep. Sleeping when you
fast
can.
food, terrible sleep schedule.
Yep.
Glasses a lot more than contacts, and then about 3 days out, you start to get that cone in there.
Yeah, and that's when you really go into sleep when you can. Try to rest up. Because you know, especially if one's coming right at us, you know you're going to be in for a couple of days of craziness. So I always try to at least keep myself somewhat calm, somewhat in a routine, because I know that for 3 or 4 days, everything's going to be thrown out. And then once it's, coming in, you can forget about sleep or anything else. I forget to eat.
Yeah. Time is of the essence. Good question, Kristen. Good question.
I got another.
This is a question for Chief Meteorologist Jamie Arnold. What is the first hurricane you've covered? Do you remember it, and what was unique about it?
Awesome question, Jake. What was the first hurricane that I covered? I'm going to go even back more to that. I grew up in Charlotte, so I was 12 years old when Hurricane Hugo hit. And Hugo devastated all of the Carolinas, even in Charlotte. I was out of school for 3 weeks, out of power for 4 weeks. Just insane the amount of damage that Hugo did in Charlotte. And that's what kind of really solidified me coming into this business was Hurricane Hugo. And then once I got into the business, the first I ever covered on air, it's a hurricane nobody remembers around here. It was a little hurricane called Alex. And it hit in July 2004 on the Outer Banks. And I covered that one. Just so happened to be my first hurricane that I ever covered, and I had to cover by myself because the chief meteorologist at the time was on vacation, and the morning meteorologist had a heart attack. So it was just me covering a hurricane all by myself for the first time ever. So, yeah, it's definitely very memorable.
That's a story.
Yeah, what about you? What was your first here?
Do you remember how scared I was?
Dorian?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dorian was Andrew's first.
I was texting Jamie, do we need to evacuate? I don't know what we're doing. Because in Kentucky, going to school, we didn't learn tropical meteorology. Right. It was tornadoes, severe weather, snow. But here we are, 7 years later.
Yeah.
Still kicking.
Still kicking, still covering hurricanes.
Love it even more. Great question, Jake. All right, while we got Jenna. Oh, we got a question. Riley.
Storm do you predict the hurricane will go?
Say that one more time, Riley.
What hurricane do you predict the hurricane will go? How do you predict the hurricane will go?
How do we predict where a hurricane will go?
Well, that's kind of cool. So predicting where a hurricane will go, you don't actually predict the hurricane itself. You try to predict what's steering the hurricane. You predict what's around the hurricane to determine where it's going to go, as opposed to actually forecasting the hurricane.
I like to think of it like this. I'm a big analogy guy, Riley. So my question, think of like your local creek or a riverbank, and basically the outside edges kind of determine where that's going to go over the process. Same way with the weather. Based off where pressure systems are, we know there's a window of opportunity, 500 miles of wiggle room, but obviously 500 miles in the grand scheme of things is big on impacts.
Yeah.
It's the nitty-gritty as it gets closer to land where we're really able to say, hey, this is going to be the 25-mile radius that's going to see big impacts.
Yeah.
Start big and then go really small.
Yep.
Good question. While we're waiting for another question, I see one over there. This is one of our new residents, too. I'm excited for this one. We are here doing Are You Serious? If you're walking in, I know there's a couple people out as well, out on the rooftop that weren't able to find a table, which is awesome. So come by after, get a photo with us if we haven't already. Let's go to Jenna for her next question.
You're good. You can say it.
I have a question. Will you two be out on the beach during the hurricane like Al Roker is?
She wants to know if Andrew and I are going to be out on the beach when the hurricanes hit like Al Roker.
We would love to be.
I would love to be. But as chief and as kind of the second senior, I call him my co-chief, we're kind of in the studio. We're in the weather center. We're chugging away in there. I would love nothing more than to be out there. And I say that, but I also love being in the studio. As bad as hurricanes are, they're really exciting to cover. Our adrenaline is pumping. I love just that feeling of being in the studio and things are happening super fast. I love that. And I know that if I were on the beach, I would be wishing I was back in the studio.
Same. I think, too, we'll give you a little inside baseball here. When we interviewed Jace Passmore, we knew that he's a storm chaser and he's really good out in the elements. So in our mind, being the weather producers that we are, we knew he's going to be a great addition when those hurricanes come.
Yeah.
We'll have others out there, but he's really going to thrive.
Yeah.
Come hurricane season.
Yeah.
Great question. We'd love to be out there, though.
Would love it.
Where's Jenna at?
What is the best advice you have for people who have never been through a hurricane?
Austin asked, what is the best advice you have for someone that's never been through a hurricane? I would say first and foremost, don't panic.
Don't panic. Pay attention. With hurricanes, you can't look at the forecast on Monday and then not look again until Friday. It doesn't work like that. This time of the year, keep up with it because things can change in a really, really big hurry. So keep up with the forecast, especially with tropical systems. They are going to change. Like Andrew said, don't panic, stay calm, stay rational. Listen to the officials. If you're in that zone that is ordered to evacuate, evacuate. It's that easy. Saving yourself is literally that easy. Evacuate.
I have a funny story, Austin. You're going to laugh at this. Dorian came through, and we're sitting here on Hurricane Week. We did the expo back in the day. And it got about a week out where I was like, oh, this might be a hit. I didn't have any hurricane kit at all. And it wasn't because of me, but I was thinking about my wife, Emily. Oh, go ahead and plan now and buy the stuff that can carry over to next season.
Yep.
And then that way you have it, you're done. If you're new to the area, buy the stuff, buy the food, buy the water, and then you're set. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do what I did and go out there and wait in a line just to pick up a case of water,
right?
Because it's chaos and not worth it.
It is absolute chaos, and if you're kind of ready for it, you're going to be fine. And it usually takes going through one to kind of figure out the process. You figure out how crazy things can get, how wild things can get, how the people around you are going to go crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're prepared and you got everything set, you're good.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
good. But it's always good when you go through one. You're like, okay, now I know what's going to happen.
All right, sounds good.
Oh.
What is the... Oh.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. What is the strongest category of hurricane that the WMBF station can withstand?
So basically, Ben asked, what if a hurricane hits Myrtle Beach and it is so strong that like even the studio has to evacuate? We have contingency plans in place. We are set to go wherever. We've got a couple of places that we can go to make sure that we're on the air through the entire thing.
Yeah, there's some locally.
Yeah.
There's also some nowhere near here.
If we were to have an absolutely crippling hurricane that looked like it was just going to literally shut down infrastructure for a while, we would call on our sister stations in either Charlotte or Columbia to work from there just to make sure that all of our people are safe. But yeah, we've got plans in place.
And there's a list of people who are last people standing.
Yeah.
We're on that list.
We're on that list. The last ones in the building.
But then we get out of there.
Happy to be there.
Okay. Ask your question first, and then we'll get there.
Hi guys, so what goes into a hurricane kit?
So Destiny heard my question or my answer. It said, what goes into a hurricane kit? You don't have one, right? Okay, she doesn't have a hurricane kit.
But you're going to have one by the end of the weekend, right? All right, good. You can find all of it on the WMBF First Alert weather app. And then go to Walmart or Food Lion or Kroger this weekend, and literally for $30 you can have a kit ready to go.
And then
Wait, we got another one back there?
Do we have questions on YouTube? Is that what it is?
YouTube, why are evacuations only focused on storm surge? Many homes are damaged or destroyed by wind.
Excellent question. We had an online question that was, why are evacuation zones only for storm surge when so many homes can be destroyed by wind? When we say run from water, hide from wind, you're not going to, especially here, we're never going to have a hurricane that is so strong that it is going to flatten your house down to the foundation like a tornado would.
Yeah.
We don't get those kind of hurricanes here. We're far enough north that hurricanes tend to lose some of their intensity as they come this way. Yes, we can still get bad ones, but even the strongest hurricanes that we have seen here, Hazel, Hugo, those were Category 4 hurricanes. You can survive it in your house. A mobile home, no, not a good idea. But just about anything that has been built within the last 50 years is going to be able to handle that kind of wind. Is it going to be pleasant? Absolutely not. Is it going to be noisy? Yes. Is it going to be scary? Yes. But you can survive it. You cannot survive if you're in Zone A, say for example, and you're told to evacuate because we're getting ready for a 15-foot storm surge and you don't. If your house is gone in a 15-foot surge, you're not surviving that.
Yeah.
So that's why we say run from water, hide from wind. We can survive the wind. You can't survive the water.
And I always say, too, treat it like a tornado, long duration.
Yeah.
Interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside. And honestly, for your home, you're better off to focus on things around you.
Yeah.
Large trees, things that could fall. Take care of all that now, because you're not going to be able to do it when the week of a hurricane coming in.
Right.
Good idea. Great question from online.
Also on YouTube, with all the lightning that has sparked in the extreme heat index this summer, do you think we could be aiming for a hurricane on the East Coast this season?
That's kind of a cool question. Judy online said with all the insane heat and all those crazy lightning storms that we had last week, does that mean anything as far as the hurricane season? And not necessarily.
No, not at all. Once again, we just said it, weather balances each other out.
Yeah.
It's the same way with this. Just because you have storms that are really bad leading up to hurricane season doesn't mean that you're going to have bad hurricanes. For instance, we had a big drought this year.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we're going to be dry all summer. We had heavy rain, thunderstorms, lightning.
Woo, Charlotte!
We got a Charlotte in the house. But it's just one of those things that whatever happens before doesn't always determine what's to come in the next couple of months.
Right.
So, any other questions before we slowly wrap this thing up? Anyone at all? Anyone at the bar? Going once?
Well, we certainly appreciate everybody coming out. We're going to swing around. If we didn't get around to your question, stop us. We're going to come by and hang out with you guys and have a good Friday night.
Yeah, if you haven't got a photo with us and you want to, come by. We'd love to get a photo. We got a magnet. If you're here visiting with us, come by. We can still keep you updated on your vacation. And, yeah, this has been fun.
It has.
All right, that does it for Are You Cirrus here on Hurricane Week. Thanks for coming out. Enjoy your Friday. Be safe. And let's do it again soon.
We'll see you next hurricane season.
Sounds
and
good.
before.